Hi there, my name's Axia, and today I have a modification for you for ENX04's stacked raid farm design. See, in snapshot 23W42A, a brand new block was added called the crafter, which allows us to automate crafting operations, which is incredibly exciting stuff. And as you can see, they're being used here to take the output of the raid farm and turn all the emeralds and redstone dust into blocks for more compact storage, basically. So you can see right here, the emeralds are being compacted into emerald blocks, and then they are being put into this barrel, which is being put into this hopper. And yeah, already, like just in the time it's taken me to start this recording, we've got like 2 stacks of emerald blocks already. Alright, so this is the crafter block, and first of all, it looks really cool. I think the art team did a fantastic job on making this look kind of in line with the other very expressive looking redstone components. Anyway, so this is what's going on with the crafter. It can take items into it, basically, so it can take it from a hopper or a dropper, and you can see if we just run this for a little while, it's going to move some of the items that are in here into the crafter. And if you just keep this running, you can see it's going to fill up in hopper speed. And what you'll notice is it will, when it's moved down from slot 1 to 9, it's going to do it again, basically. So it's going to go all through and kind of distribute the items equally. And speaking of equal distribution, let's actually fill this up a little bit more, otherwise I'm going to run out before I've finished this explanation. But if we put, for example, a few more items in here, you can see rather than starting at slot number 1 and moving down to slot number 9, it's going to fill up the slots that are a little bit less full first. Only then will it start to sort of distribute them equally again. So that's it taking items into it. When we power it like this, it's going to spit out the item that's in this crafting slot here. And you can see I actually can't take this out. You might not be able to hear this, but I'm clicking my mouse really hard, and it's not I can't take this item out the same way I would with a normal crafting table. You have to use a redstone input like this in order to make it work. All right, so obviously in a redstone setting, you want to be able to actually automatically craft the things that you put in. Otherwise, it's not, there's no real purpose for it being a redstone component at all, really. So one of the main ways that you can sort of do this is by using signal strength, because the crafter block will output a signal strength that's equal to the number of slots that are filled. And what's really interesting about that is you can actually disable slots like this. And what's useful about that is that when you have, for example, I don't know, you want to craft a chest plate, for example, because a hopper will place the items in from top left in this kind of order down to bottom right, like that. So if you leave them all sort of open like this and you place I don't know 8 ingots in, then they're going to fill up like this instead, and they're going to stop there, which is not what you want. So you can disable again, the example of a chest plate, you can disable this slot, and then it's going to fill up in the correct order, and then you can power the crafter, and it's going to spit out the chest plate as a result. Now you'll also see while I'm clicking away, the lamps on my right are activating, and that's because when you put an item in or you lock a slot, that counts as one signal strength like this. So you see we've got one item in and we've got one locked slot. That's a signal strength of 2. And if I just fill this up slowly, you can see that the signal strength will always be equal to the number of items plus the number of locked slots that there are in the crafter. Now this, you might be able to realize, is a way of detecting when the crafting table is completely full. So when you have, for example, 9 items in here, that's going to equate to a signal strength of 9, and then you can wrap that back around and power the crafter. In fact, let's do that now, shall we? We can have another comparator here to subtract some signal strength off. Let's use a composter and some cake to fill up that composter like this. And if we place blocks sort of like this and redstone dust like that, then that's going to be a signal strength of 3. So it's going to spit the things out, or at least try to. You can see there, it activates when I have 3 items in. So we need to subtract a signal strength of 6 in order to make it work when the crafter is full. I keep calling it a crafting table because I'm so accustomed to it. But there we got level 6, and what should happen now is we fill this up, and then it's going to spit out a block of emerald like that. So that works in the same way as if you were to take a massive line of signal strength 9 and then wrap it around with repeaters or something like that. But you don't really need to do that. You can use a more compact system like this. If you want to make it even more compact and sort of, I don't know, a little bit more tileable or something, you can sort of wrap it around here, and then you can add dust here, and then you can have more modules here, and you can have another module here, and have the dust here like that to make it quite dense if you wanted to. So there are different ways of doing this. However, we can use a bit of a cheat, because the only 2 items that we are compacting into blocks for Ian's raid farm is emeralds and redstone. Let me clarify what I mean by that. So as a quick thought experiment now, we have a crafter right here, and it's being repeatedly clocked at 6 game ticks by this observer clock here. Now what happens if I create a constant supply of iron ingots going into it? In fact, we can install a hopper to kind of automate this. Okay, so when I unlock this hopper, which is filled with iron ingots, what's going to happen is, instead of creating iron blocks, which we desire, it's just going to create iron nuggets, right? Because the iron is going to go into this first slot, and then the clock is going to power the crafter immediately, and it's going to spit out the result that it has in its output slot, which is always going to be iron nuggets because it's not moving kind of fast enough to be anything else. In contrast, what would happen if we put redstone dust into the input? Think about the recipes that it has along the way. If you're using just redstone dust exclusively as the ingredient for your recipe, then when it fills up one slot, nothing's going to happen. We don't get redstone nuggets. 2, we don't get redstone pressure plates. We don't get redstone bars at 6, or redstone, what's this, slab at 3. The only recipe that consists of solely redstone dust as an ingredient is the redstone block. We're getting redstone blocks here from redstone dust, just with a clock out the back, which is really, really useful stuff, because the only 2 items that we are compacting in ENX04 stacked raid farm are emeralds and redstone, both of which behave this way. So while using signal strength detection is objectively more versatile for working with the crafter block, actually there are a handful of situations where we can just clock the crafter, because the ingredients that go in don't have any recipes other than the one that we want. This whole thing is powered by a central clock back here. It's just a comparator fade out clock. This comparator is activating. It's taking what it's getting in from the back, and it's spitting it out the front. And because redstone dust decreases by 1 every time it moves 1 block away from the power source, whatever gets outputted here is going to subtract by 2 by the time it gets round to the comparator again, which means the comparator then outputs a signal strength that is 2 fewer. So every 2 game ticks, the signal strength gets smaller by 2. And every time it goes down to 0, it's going to pulse this torch, which does 2 things. It will activate this clock again, allowing it to kind of cycle around repeatedly, and it's also going to activate these crafters periodically. So now that we've established all of the mechanics behind what makes this modification tick, let's get into the tutorial. I really hope you enjoy. So let's begin by heading up this ladder here and mining these 4 double chests, like so. Underneath each of these hoppers, you can place crafters like this, pointing to barrels, with redstone dust on top. Now we need to install the redstone clock that will make this thing function. So head down this line of barrels here, break a hole in the wall like this, and bridge out on 3 blocks. Place a block at the end of this line with dust on top and a comparator pointing into it. Place a block on top of this comparator with dust on top, and a block behind this comparator with dust on top of that one. Seal this gap off with a block in the wall like this. Place a torch under this block, and you should see the redstone dust lines start to flicker about once every second. You can turn this off by placing a lever on this block and flicking it on. Head down the ladder into the storage room underneath. Mine this dirt pillar for accessibility. Mine this hole in the wall like so. And place hoppers underneath each barrel like this. Place chests underneath each one of these hoppers. And then head around the back of the farm to expand these chests into double chests. You will need to break this block, as well as these two to allow you to do this. Before you head off to receive Bad Omen to operate this farm, make sure this lever is flicked on. Alright, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed this modification for ENXO4's stacked raid farm. Obviously, the original link for this stacked raid farm will be in the description. It has all of the information you'll need to know. This is just a modification, and it's quite surface level by comparison. So yeah, definitely go and check that out, as well as ENXO4's channel, which will also be in the description. This crafter block is insanely powerful, and it has such a wide range of possibilities, so I really cannot wait to see what you all come up with. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something new. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.